What's up, my plant lovers? Devin is here, and today I wanted to do a video on something that has been requested many times, and that is what I like to use in terms of the soil mixture, the soil substrate for all of my houseplants. So I thought I would make a video showing my go-to recipe using only 5 different ingredients to create a soil mixture that I use on pretty much all of my houseplants, especially my rare Aroids, things like Anthuriums, precious Philodendrons, Syngoniums, all of those plants that you really want to make sure you start with a good foundation of a good soil mixture that's going to provide the nutrition, the moisture retention, and the aeration in that soil so that your plants can grow successfully and happily and also quickly. So if you go down to the description below, you can find a link to my Amazon shop where you can easily buy these 5 ingredients and make your own houseplant soil substrate that you can keep in a large storage container like this inside your apartment, your condo, your house. I have this at home inside all year round, and whenever I have a new houseplant, I just go over to my little container, take out some of my soil substrate, plant it up, and it's really super easy, super fast. So what are the 5 ingredients? The first ingredient, now I'm gonna write in my description the exact specifications, how many quarts of each of the 5 ingredients for my personal recipe. But if yours wavers a little bit, if you have additions, subtractions, it's all good. You gotta find what works for you. I found that this works really well for me, and I think it'll work well for you too. So in the description, you can find exactly how many quarts of each of these 5 ingredients I use in my mix. Make it easy for you, all right? So I start with a 25 quart bag of just general potting mix. You buy it at your garden center, big box stores. So I like to start with this because this is what's really gonna provide the bulk of the nutrients. It's also gonna provide most of the structure for your roots to grow into so that your plant can stay strong and grow upright very healthily. So ingredient number 2 is a 4 quart bag of perlite. Now, many of us recognize perlite, those little white specks in our potting mix. Yes, that potting mix that I just put in has a little bit of perlite, but not enough. I'm gonna add more, and the reason why I love perlite is that this adds really good airflow. It's super lightweight. It allows for water to really drain very efficiently through your soil mix so that your plants aren't sitting in water for too long. Now remember, that was a 4 quart bag. Quarts refer to volume rather than weight. This is very lightweight, which we love. You can think of all of those precious Aroids growing in the jungles where that soil substrate is naturally very quick draining. This is gonna help to replicate that. As well as the next ingredient. The third ingredient is another 4 quart bag of orchid bark. This is also going to help add aeration to your soil. It's going to allow for a little bit of water retention, which is great. And it's also, as they break down, they're going to add a little bit of nutrients. So this is a really great addition. I always like to use orchid bark in all of my soil substrates. The nice and chunkiness is what really allows for good airflow in your soil. That's what I love about it. Now, the 4th ingredient is 4 quarts of our Sphagnum Moss. Now, I bought a 7 quart bag, so I'm gonna eyeball it. You know, this isn't rocket science. There's a lot of feel to the artistry of growing plants. So I'm gonna kind of guess and check another 4 quarts of the Sphagnum Moss. Now, Sphagnum Moss, you'll often find a lot of really high-end, kind of rare plants propagated using purely Sphagnum Moss. I use it as an addition because this is like magic in your soil. It adds really beautiful water retention. This can stay moist for a very long time, keeping our roots hydrated, which so many of our tropical jungle plants love to have their roots slightly moistened at all times, like Anthurium, for instance. But at the same time, it doesn't really stay like sopping wet. So it gives you that moisture without being too wet. And it's also going to help add with really great drainage as well. Now you may have to kind of break this up to make it into smaller bits that mix in with the rest. One thing to remember, if you saw my video showing the difference between sphagnum moss and peat moss, we are using sphagnum moss, not peat moss. They're very different. Some people like to use peat moss in their houseplant substrates. I use sphagnum moss, and with my recipe, I think sphagnum moss it's superior for what purposes I have. Okay? And then the fifth and final ingredient is 4 quarts of horticultural charcoal. Now, if you've ever taken charcoal like internally yourself, the reason people do that is because it's really great at purifying inside your bloodstream. It absorbs toxins and helps to eliminate them from inside your body. Likewise, it's going to help to remove toxins from our soil that may be present, which is fantastic. But at the same time, it's very light and very porous, so it's also going to add improved drainage. Just be careful when you're pouring it in so you don't breathe in too much of that charcoal. Look how beautiful that is. Very lightweight, very porous, also going to help with drainage. You're starting to see that all 4 of those ingredients help with drainage. That initial potting mix can be very, very heavy. Many of our aroids like really great drainage, and by using simply 100% bagged potting mix, you're probably not going to get good enough drainage for your plants to be happy. We can remember that for plant roots to really be happy, they need a really great balance of moisture and airflow in that soil substrate. So that's really what we're trying to accomplish with this easy 5-ingredient substrate mix. All right, so once you have them all like this, you can either put the lid on, give them a good shake. Watch out for your face. You'll sometimes find chunks of the sphagnum moss. That's okay. Just try to break it up as best you can. And that's really all there is to it. Look how beautiful this mixture is. It's perfect. It's going to be great for everything from your anthuriums, your philodendrons, Monstera, syngonium, pothos, what else? And some of our epiphytic cactus, like our zigzags. It's really a great go-to house plant substrate for pretty much everything. If you want to make it, just go down to the description where you can find the link to my Amazon shop. Easily just click on them, order them, have them shipped to your home. Store your substrate in a container like this. So when I store it, I like to keep the lid just slightly propped off, and that allows any sort of excess moisture to leave the container rather than being trapped inside all the time. And that's just a good practice, I think. But anyway, it's really that easy. This is a super awesome houseplant mix. Anyone can make it in like 5 minutes, just like I did right here. And now you can start growing some of those more rare plants that you're so nervous about starting with just a little bit extra confidence. You know, starting, like so many things in life, starting with a great foundation is the key to success. And when it comes to plants, starting with the solid soil substrate is a requirement. Anyways, I hope you found this video a little bit informative, a little bit fun, and a little bit encouraging that you can go and make your own houseplant substrate with success. If you have comments, if you have experience using other ingredients, please leave them below in the comment section. I love learning from you guys. You guys are full of vast knowledge, and the plant community is here for us to share our experiences and our knowledges every single day. Thank you for joining me here on Plant Vibrations, and I will catch you soon. Ciao.